Hi guys, I thought I'd make a video about MINOXIDIL. A lot of people have been asking me about this. Do I take it? Have I taken it in the past? What do you do with it? What's it for? I used to take it before my transplant. I used to buy sort of 6 months in one go off of eBay, and it's about £30. What it's for is it's proven to try and help hair growth where you might be losing your hair. In the past I've read that it's just for the crown area, but I'm not really sure. It doesn't say on it, it just says apply 1 milliliter 2 times a day directly onto the scalp in the hair loss area. Using more or more often will not improve results. Continued use is necessary or hair loss will begin again. Don't use if you're a woman, if you've got no family history of hair loss, your hair loss is sudden and or patchy, because there might be other problems. You do not know the reason for your hair loss, you're under 18, your scalp is red, inflamed, infected, irritated or painful. You use other medications on the scalp. Ask the doctor before use if you have heart disease. Do not apply on any other parts of the body. Avoid contact with eyes. Some people have experienced changes in hair colour and texture. Stop use if you get rapid heartbeat, chest pains, etc. So this is the one that I used to use. It's called Kirkland MINOXIDIL, and it's the 5% one, so it's sort of like the strong one. They used to do 1%, but I've not seen that as much. Yeah, so I bought this on eBay. It was about £30 for about 6 months supply. But yeah, I used to use it. So in the morning you'd put it on, and then in the evening you'd put it on. When I first started noticing a bald patch on the back of my head, it seemed to not do tons for me, and the hairs that it does grow are really thin. But then I found out about hair fibres. Yeah, so these are the hair fibres I used to use, and what they do is it's kind of like sprinkling dust onto your head. It's just you choose the colour that's closest to your hair colour, you sprinkle it on, and it basically covers the bald patch, and they're brilliant. They literally a lifesaver for me. For about 8 years I was using those. They're great. You put them on in the morning. Some people use hairspray with them. I just put them straight on, just left them, they were fine. If it rains, they seem to stay in. If it's windy, they stay in. The only time they come out is if you have a shower or you go swimming or something like that. So like I said, yeah, they were brilliant. When you're using hair fibres, I found that they used to stick to the MINOXIDIL. So I basically stopped using the MINOXIDIL because it kind of went clumpy and it just looked a mess. You could sort of see like chunky bits in the back of your hair. So yeah, I stopped using the MINOXIDIL. But I found some recently in my wardrobe, so I thought I would give it a go because I'm not using hair fibres since my hair transplant. The other thing, I don't like using it overnight because if you put it in before you go to bed, it gets on your pillow. You can get foam, which a lot of guys recommend, or this one's the cheaper one. This is just the oil sort of solution. And it's great, but it's kind of oily, so if you put it on before you go to bed, it gets on your pillow, it makes the pillow a bit yellowy and a bit stained. So what I'm doing at the moment, I put it on first thing in the morning. You get like this pipette thing, so you twist it. It's got a 1 milliliter mark, I don't know if you can see that on there. And it's like liquid, this one, so you get up to the 1 milliliter mark, and then you just basically put it on the back of your head where the sort of bald patch is. Like I said, I've read it's mostly for the crown area, but I have put a little bit on the front where it's sort of growing at the front after the transplant. So that's what I've been doing, but even now I can sort of feel it rolling down the back of my head. You have to kind of rub it in. It's very oily. I don't love it, and I'm guessing the foam may be better. Leave a comment if you use the foam, if you find it better than the liquid. I might at some point buy some of the foam. But the other thing is with MINOXIDIL, if you stop taking it, you'll carry on losing your hair. I'm not sure if the hair that's grown will fall back out or if it just goes back to your general sort of standard of hair fallout. Luckily, since my hair transplant, I don't seem to have had any. I'm not sure if that's because of the saw palmetto or just luck, or some people have a sort of certain amount of baldness. Some go completely bald, some don't. Maybe I reach the amount of baldness that I was going to get. The other thing I was going to talk about was some guys ask about dermal rollers. I've got one which I used to use. So it's like lots of little needles. So I got this one off of Amazon. I'll leave a link to it if you want to buy one of these. And it comes with different ends. So you've got this end, that's a really thin one. Or you've got this one, which is a really wide one. And this one's the medium one. You just unclip them. So you press the little button and they just unclip. If you use something like this, some people use them, sort of roll over your scalp. The little piercing needles, they pierce the skin, which is fine. And some guys use MINOXIDIL after doing that. On the instructions of the MINOXIDIL, it says, you know, don't use on broken skin. So I'll be a little bit cautious about using it after using a dermal roller, because I should think it would probably sting quite a bit as well if it gets into your cut skin. People use these on their face and everything to try and promote skin growth and stop lines and things like that. But yeah, I know some guys use these, and I thought I'd mention it because I used to use one before I had my transplant. I don't use it anymore. If you use it on your sort of face, you end up, your skin goes quite red the next day. But yeah, some guys use them, and some guys have been asking about them, so I thought I'd just show the one that I bought off of Amazon. The only reason I thought I'd use the MINOXIDIL is because the crown's sort of growing a bit slower than the rest of my hair, which is to be expected, that you get told that the crown's the slowest part. But yeah, I've started using the MINOXIDIL about a week ago, just to give it a go really, and to use up what I've got left over in my wardrobe. Probably got about 3 months supply, so I might use it till then, see if it makes difference. If it doesn't, I just won't get any more. But apart from that, I'm quite happy with the way the hair's going. Some have said, could I do a sort of close-up of the hairline? It's kind of hard to try and get to focus, but I mean, there's always going to be people who say, oh, whichever person's had their hair done, oh, you know, you can see it at the front. And if I was walking down the street and you didn't know I'd had a hair transplant, I'm guessing you probably wouldn't recognise it. I'm happy with the hairline at the front. To be honest, when I was thinking about getting my hair done, I had the bald spot on the back, which was my main worry. The front I wasn't that bothered about because I still had hair on the sides. It was a little bit bald at the sort of coming up at the top, and it kind of went back a little bit. I think they're called widow's peaks at the sides. They didn't really bother me that much. The main thing's the bald spot at the back which bothered me. But when I sort of went there, they said, yeah, we can sort of do that. We can bring the hairline forward just a little bit. So it's probably about ½ an inch they brought it forward right at the front, because the hair came forward at the front anyway. So maybe a bit more, and then on those bits, the sides, that's where they sort of brought it forward. And now that I've had it done, I'm completely glad that I did go for that and have the front done, not just the back, because, you know, I feel myself it looks better at the front now. Like I've said before, if you're looking at your hair every day, you probably don't notice it as much, but it's other people who haven't seen you for a while, they'll notice it. The hair around the bald spot, that gets sort of greasy. But there is hair growing there now. You can sort of feel it, it's little hair. But yeah, it does grow a lot slower. The transplanted hair grows slower anyway, but at the crown area at the back it is sort of growing slower. But people have said, you know, do you have to be careful with it? But no, it's like the hair's just like normal hair now, it's fine. You can comb it or do, like, you still shouldn't cut it with a shaver on top for 6 months. Obviously I've done the sides and the back which weren't transplanted, but yeah, I still haven't had it shaved. I've not cut it with scissors, not done anything to it on top, just sort of push it into place really. But if you've got any questions, any comments, leave me a comment. I'm coming up to 4 months in the 17th of April, so I'll do another video then showing just the progress. But yeah, if you've got any questions on minoxidil or dermal rollers, or if you've used them yourself, you've had better results or different results, or you like a different brand, let us know. Put a comment, that would be great. Alright, cheers.